Well, it's a beautiful day in my neighborhood. Nearly a clear blue sky and 82 degrees, with occasionally a slight breeze. Couldn't ask for more here in my little piece of paradise in the deep south of Alabama. So pretty today it's been. Of course, the pollen, like always in the fall, is extremely high. I wonder where the kitty crew is. They're probably off chasing squirrels. Yeah, or maybe a bunny or two. But I'm sure they'll be around once they hear pop out on the front porch. We'll just have to wait and see. Oh, well, there you are, friends and family. Didn't see you walk up. But as you see, we're on the front porch. And we're really happy to see you again. You're always welcome here in my neighborhood. And yep, we're sitting here on the front porch enjoying this beautiful weather, even though the pollen isn't good. But we needed to get, our vitamin D, get a little sunshine in, because it won't be much longer. It'll be getting chillier again, which it has been, this past part of the week. But now it's warmed up. And I wanted to come out and talk to you. In this video, an episode of Mr. Tom's Neighborhood really isn't all about. For general consumption, it's primarily for my family, and even more for my son and my grandson. Because there may come a day when they'll want to look back and see how this day and how it affected not only them, but me as well. So I might as well jump on into it. You've probably seen the title. Yeah, yesterday was one of the saddest days of my life. Not the saddest, but like all of us, we have those sad events that happen over the course of our lives. And yesterday would be such a day for me as well. Now, most of you know that follow me here, I had my appointment down at the Alabama Cancer Care Center with my radiation therapy oncologist. And that's not what made it one of the saddest days of my life. It was a follow-up appointment. I'm through currently with my radiation therapy, or we hope so. We don't know so yet because we haven't had our PSA test. That'll be in 2 more months. It's already scheduled for in December. But what they do, they weigh you, they take your blood pressure, they check your oxygen level, and then they bring you in to chat with the doctor to see how you were doing. Now, one surprise I got was the doctor that had been treating me, Dr. Supplicol, which was my radiation therapy oncologist that oversaw and actually gave me my treatments, is no longer with them. He's moved on and has moved to Ohio. And that was quite a surprise. But I have a new one. He seems rather personable too, willing to take the time with you and discuss things and just chit-chat. And that's Dr. Burnett. Really nice guy, I might say. And he asked me a lot of questions, to make sure I wasn't having any difficulties or any post-therapy problems. Which I might say, as far as the fatigue, which he asked me about too, that's about all I can say that I'm experiencing. And that's just, lopped on top of the fatigue I already experienced with my COPD, which has been acting up. Why? Because of the pollen. But overall, the visit went very well. And I had planned on visiting my son after my appointment, which I did. That would begin to be the saddest of my day. You see, I briefly touched on it a time or two that we've been having a serious family problem that we've been having to try to rectify. And it dealt with my son and my grandson and his family. And I'm not going to get into all the details of what went on or why. Needless to say, you know, we don't know people that we get involved with as well as we think we did. Marriages break up every day for various reasons, some rather tragically. Such would be the case with my son. And we would find out things that you would not hardly believe, or I would have never believed if I wouldn't have had to live through it. But it's been a long, drawn-out process of discoveries, not only concerning his now estranged wife, but I learned a thing or two about my son that I would have never believed. And that all led to the course of events that would come to a conclusion last week on Thursday with the custody of my grandson. So, my ex-wife, Bubby, little Thomas's grandmother, now has custody of him. Yep, because sometimes parents make bad decisions. And they make mistakes. And such was the case in all of this. And sometimes these mistakes are making for the best of reasons. So the people think at the time. And they wind up being some really bad decisions. Poor choices that shouldn't have been made. But anyway, now my grandson lives in North Alabama. Now both of them do. My daughter lives up there too. All with my ex-wife. Yep. So Davy lives with his grandmother. My daughter lives with her mother there. Little Bubby, little Thomas, has been there now for at least 6 weeks. And as of today, my son, the last one of my direct family, will be moving up there too. In fact, he's in the final stages of packing as I come out and talk to you. He didn't want to go. I mean, this is his home, this area. Tallahassee, Wetumpka, Prattville, Montgomery area. He's called it home since 1997, when he was 10 years old. You know, my daughter used to live here when she got out of the service. This is where Davy was born, my first grandson. And she left in, I think it was 2010, back to her mother's to help take care of what was then her mother's two young daughters that she had had. And she had got divorced. So she needed help with child care since she was a single mother again. So Ashley went up to help. And that help is still going on. God bless her soul. So yeah, James is moving back up. He'll probably head out around 5 or 6 today once him and his friends are done loading up his possessions. Now for the second time in the last couple of months. And he's moving up to be at his mother's too, so he can be there with Bubby, little Thomas, his son. He doesn't want to go and he hates to go and leave me here. He's torn, but it's the right thing to do. But when I was visiting him yesterday, It was just sad, because I know he's just not going to be in Montgomery anymore. Depending on traffic, he was only 30 to 40 minutes away. Now, he's going to be 3 to 4 hours away. It's not across the country, so it could be worse. But it was comforting to know he was just a phone call away, and he'd get here as fast as he could to help me whenever I needed it. And he says now, when we were visiting yesterday, don't worry, Pop. All you got to do is call. But it won't be the same. And when I finally asked him, I wanted to take a couple of pictures at his new place, which now it's his old, just so I'd have him to look at when he's gone. And we hugged several times. And then we hugged again before I got in the car. We told each other we loved us. And I admit it. And I'm a rather hard old man. I broke down and cried some too. And I could see his eyes filling with tears too. It's been a tough time for my son. It really has. And he's tried his very best to do all the right things to get through this. And he did. Maybe they were just a little too late, as it would come out. But I know he's going to do the very best by my grandson. He'll do the very best by all of them up there too. And maybe it'll be the best for him too. I'll miss him dearly. I loved him dearly too. And that's why I wanted to do this video. So, whenever he wonders, did his papa really love him? He would know it was true. And I love that little blonde-haired, blue-eyed little boy that came on the scene all the way back in 1987. More than he knew, but not more than my daughter. And you know how that goes between siblings. One thinks the other's love more and is the favorite than they are. And that was the case between those two. They were inseparable growing up. When they got to be adults, they grew apart. One went left and one went right. Almost literally, you might say. And because of that, they were no longer as close, if at all, as they once were. I mean, there was a time we all were so close. But that time is going away. We might be close in our minds and in our hearts, but the distance will always be far greater. And that's a sad thing. I already miss him a lot, even though he wasn't here anymore. I mean, he lived with me many a years until he moved out in 2018 and got him his own house, had a thriving business. Then 2020 came along. Well, a lot of businesses suffered, and his did too, and it really never recovered. And that weighed heavily on his heart and his mind, I'm sure too. And then he got married. I had a child with a woman that already had two. And that gets back to the part where you never truly know a person till you've lived with them a while. And from there, it can get quite bizarre. Unbelievable, I might add. But Everything's wrapped up now. There's no more things to do. When the truck pulls out today, I guess you'd say the end of an era has come and gone. But you're never alone. And I'm sure all of you have had the same things happen for various reasons. You know, your kids grow up, they leave home, sometimes they come back a while, and then they leave again. Maybe they'll return a second time, who knows. Sometimes they just go away and never come home. Just like friends. They come into your life, they come and go. It's a rare thing these days to have a friend for life. If you have one, count yourself a lucky one. I've had a few that hung in there a long, long time, but between moving and career changes and what have you, it's not the case anymore. If you live long enough, they say, you'll finally be alone. But there's one thing I want to remind you, because I find myself reminding myself today, is you're never truly alone as long as you have God. There'll always be two. And of course, I've got the kitty crew. And the princess of the house, little Gracie, which has to sleep with me pretty much every night now, just like old Lilybit did. Of course, Gracie will never be that little love bug Lilybit was. She's got a whole lot of peril in her, and she still does. But she'll curl up right below my chest. As long as you don't mess with her, she'll hang in with you all night long. Where Lilybit, she had to be right up beside my head, looking at me. She was a special kitty, that's sure. But yeah, that's why yesterday and today, some of the saddest days of my life. You know, I'm not losing my son. He's just moving away. But you know how it feels. It feels like a loss. At least I'm truthful and say that's true. But I wish him the very best. And I know he'll do his very best. And, you know, we talk sometimes every other day, sometimes every day. Will that continue? Who knows? He's got a whole new life ahead of him. New people, new places. A lot of things to do around there. He's already been doing a lot. Because he'd been going up there every week, spending 3 or 4 days to be with his son. I can't blame him for the decision that he made. And like he said, you know, if he could have had it any other way, it wouldn't be this way. But it didn't work out for him. No, it didn't. And this was the safest plan to ensure that little Bubby and Thomas was safe and away from someone else. I'll just leave it at that. So yeah, that's been what's weighed on me even more than my prostate cancer, because we've been dealing with this situation since February. And like I say, at times it was so bizarre and unbelievable. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't have lived through it. So I'm grateful. Praise God, it's over. The outcome isn't the way I would like it, but often it's not. Who knows what God's plan is? For only He does. And we can only go on. So yeah, that's a big weight off my heart to not go through what we've been going through the last 8 months. and all the tragedy. So that'll help out too. And hopefully my prostate cancer is gone. So we too can start anew. But if my son ever watches this, and my grandson, and my daughter, and my other grandson, I wanted them to know I loved them dearly, every second of every day. And I did everything I could to make their lives the best that I could. And I hope they'll remember that one day when old Papa isn't here anymore. Because that was the whole reason for starting the channel. It's to leave a little bit of me behind. What I did, how I lived. For them. When Papa's went to be with God. So I hate to bring you down. For those of you who choose to watch this, I'll try to put something in the description box to let you know it's primarily for my son and my grandson and the rest of my family. But I must say, many of you here that stop by every time I do a video have become family in your own way too. We may have never met. We may have never hugged in real life. But we're family here in our little community on YouTube. So hey, I've got to get on in and whip up some grub. It's getting that time. And you're going to be seeing more episodes of Little Old Country Kitchen. Share some more recipes with you, since, as always, we do more of that. As the days get colder, and that's what we're about to be up to. No, we'll still take rides, Fast Food Fridays, and do some other things too. You just got to wait to see how it all plays out. So yeah, y'all take care out there. Stay safe. And may God bless you as you bless those in your lives. You know we love you for all that you do to make our lives better too. And with all that, until the next episode of Mr. Tom's Neighborhood, from me and the kitty crew, you know them all, Cleo, Spooky, sometimes Heathcliff, Fluffy Muffin, Dusty, and the princess of the house, Gracie. See ya. Goodbye for now. Yep. There'll be happier days. You just gotta wait and see. Well, I wonder where my kid crew's at. I figured they'd walk up once they heard me chit-chatting to my friends and family on the little black box. But they must be frolicking out in the bright sunshine and enjoying the breeze. Oh, with that said, later all.